but effective.
Welcome to another edition of Boring but Effective. We have the champion of the youth, Lyndon Jones, joining us. He is the director and company owner of NextGen Edge. Welcome, Lyndon.
Thanks, David. Happy to be here.
Thanks for coming on, mate. Good to see you. Now, tell us what does NextGen Edge do?
NextGen Edge is kind of founded on a few different philosophies. So it comes from my own personal lived experience. So, when I was a youngster, going through school and whatnot, I was always told like I had two options. I either had to go to uni or do a trade. And, when I say I tried every job you could think of between the ages of 17 to 26, I mean it. I did roof tiling, panel beating. I was exploring being a mechanic there. I worked in administration in hospitals. I worked in sales and business. You name it, I did it.
I reckon you had to
And
go. You had to go at some of them twice too, I recken.
yeah,
Just to
look,
make sure.
actually, there was a couple of times. Well, my very first job at 14 was with Domino's Pizza. And to say I left there and went back at least 4 to 5 times would be an understatement. But I suppose, I went through the management stream with them as well. But I think what I always found is that I just never felt like it was ever truly me. I never felt happy. It just didn't, there was just something missing. And, I could never quite put my finger on what it was until I bumped into a former colleague who was studying criminology and criminal justice. And I sort of went, oh, that's a thing, I love that stuff, and so, I was 27 at the time, and I called all the universities up to find out, if it was even possible for a bloke like me who didn't have an OP or anything like that to, go to university. And anyway, thankfully on the other end of the phone, there was someone that said, yes, you can. I'd done a certificate 4 in retail management, so that was kind of my window into uni because it showed that I could study at a higher level.
Yeah.
And, they said, look, all you've got to do is pass the first 4 core subjects of the course and then you're in. So I went ahead and I did that. And then fast forward maybe 3 years later, I was approaching my capstone. I was also, I was invited to apply for like an internship. And I'd previously said, that I wanted to turn my kind of entrepreneurial, salesy brain and my passion for working with young people into something in the future. I didn't know what that looked like, but anyway, so I did my internship with Project Booyah, which is a place run by the local PCYC. And I think there's 11 sites across Queensland and New South Wales now. And it's a police-run initiative, so essentially it's young people that are I guess maybe on the wrong side of the tracks, disengaged from school and that sort of thing, and they get into this program and they get their lives turned around. And I found through that internship, I just had the young people there had such a profound impact on me, and I saw things that I didn't think other people saw. I just saw things in young people. And I just went, yeah, this is where I want to be, And I also, looking back, had tailored a lot of my university courses to youth-based stuff. So I realized, yeah, this is my calling. So I worked in, residential care for a long time, worked in case management, specifically working with youth and families. And I guess there's a lot of roadblocks, working within systems like that. And so I went, well, I want to do things my way. And I think that there's a market for young people, and families who may be higher income earners, so they're not eligible for a lot of the government grants or a lot of the kind of that level of support. And I wanted to provide something, I know, like I've spoken to my parents, if they could have their time back, if there was something like NextGen Edge when I was a young person, they would have paid, plenty of money to give me the mentorship and support, because I made a lot of mistakes in my early 20s. So that's what NextGen Edge is about. It's about, I guess, using the things that I've learned, the mistakes, the lessons I've learned, and all of the skills I've learned along the way to help the next generation, I guess, not make those same mistakes, but more importantly, develop them into, what I think every young person is capable of, which is being, you know, just the best version of themselves. I think they all have this amazing ability, particularly when they're young, to achieve anything they want to achieve. They just need someone to believe in them so that they can believe in themselves. That's the long-winded version, David.
That's no, that's fantastic, and I just like to make mention there. You mentioned some mistakes. I mean, we've all made mistakes. It's really about how you learn from them and how you bounce back from them. I mean, mistakes aren't often
Mm,
bad. They don't have to be bad. I mean, some kids make bigger mistakes than others, and like you mentioned, they might fall foul of on the wrong side of the law, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're bad kids or that's the end of them.
mm,
It's something that I think you've done a great thing in highlighting that these guys just need a bit of guidance and a bit of mentorship. So probably leads me
yeah.
into what do you do and what are some of the programs you do with youth development and how do you empower them with resilience and confidence to overcome those mistakes they might have made early on and come out like you on the other side.
Yeah, so I guess it's important to note that we don't just work with young people who maybe have gone down the wrong track. We also, work with high achievers and young people that maybe are also just a bit like lacking direction. So we work with all kinds of young people. But one of the main things that I do is it's really about being led by the young person. Each young, I think we do too much in society and in schools and in a lot of systems where we kind of try to put all young people into the same box.
Mm.
And that's just in my opinion, it's just the fundamentally wrong way to go about it. Every young person you come across is going to be completely different to the next,
Yeah.
but equally they've all got their own strengths, their own interests, their own things that they're good at. And so I really kind of hone in on that. What is the young person in front of me good at? Or maybe they don't know what they're good at yet.
Mm.
So that's where I come in and I try to help them unlock, what they're good at, what their interests are. And then we develop a plan and some goals around those things, whilst also picking up maybe some of those things that they're weaker in as well. But we do it in a kind of disguised way that they're not even conscious that we're doing that.
It's growth by uh, growth by figuring it out for them before they can actually figure it out themselves, and then by then they've already overcome. Sounds like a really good
Yeah.
system you got going there, my good man. Um, hey, now, so what does the future look like for you guys? What's some of the important youth services that they can utilize today, and what are you planning on bringing on down the track?
Yeah, so at the moment, we're really leaning into our school programs. So we've had our first school program that we ran in March of this year. It went really, really well. That same school they want us on board again next year. Um, and that program was specifically for more disengaged kids, or kids that are, maybe their attendance isn't great. That same school is actually looking to bring us on board for one of our leadership programs, which we run for year 10 and 11 students. Those two grades, we run them at the end of the current year because they're the two grades that are going to be in 11 and 12 the following year. So they're going to be the leaders of the school. So we run leadership programs, with the future leaders, not just like the school captains or whatever, but the entire grade, because I think that leadership, I've captained cricket teams and I've also been part of cricket teams where I'm not the captain, but I'm still considered a leader because I don't think, personally, I don't think you need a C next to your name or a VC or whatever next to your name to be a leader. But leadership is still a skill. So that's why we like to run these programs to help young people, I guess, realize that they can be a leader and impact those around them. We talk about like a circle of influence when we have an activity that we do around that. And then we also obviously have our one-to-one coaching, with young people. So I've got a handful of clients that are, one-to-one clients, where we're working specifically with them around their goals. One particular story was, a young fella, he's 19. He was just sort of lacking a little bit of confidence and direction. He was toiling away at his like learner license hours. Now, I didn't get in the car with him and teach him to drive, but what I did do, and this is where I think the philosophy is of coaching comes into it, is that once a week we would catch up, and so the first goal that we set for him was, well, we want to get you from your 35 hours that you're at now and have been for 12 months to your 100 hours so you can get your license. And so one of the things that we did is we said to him, every day at 2 o'clock, you're going to message your mum because she's the one that's doing most of the driving with you. And you're going to say, hey, mum, how's your day at work been? Um, is today a good day for us to do some driving this afternoon? And so we wrote that down, we put it in a plan for him, and he did that. Now, fast forward 5 months later, he not only did his 100 hours, he got his P's first go, but I think the unintended consequence and the most important thing behind it was that his relationship with his mom improved.
Yeah.
Not that their relationship wasn't good already, but their communication became good. Like he was, showing a genuine interest in how his mum's day was going. Just little things, right? Which, as parents, we're both parents. I hope that one day my kids, when they reach a certain age, and that they'll still care about how my day's going. So that was kind of an unintended consequence. We also work with parents as well and families, because I guess, like, and this sort of goes back to my own journey, is like I genuinely believe it takes a village to raise any child. And I think about when I was a kid, like I'm still best friends with the two boys that I went around with when I was in high school. And whenever we were at each other's places, each of the parents had an agreement with each other that if we were at their place, they were our parent. And if we stepped out of line, they had every permission to do what needed to be done. And they did that. And so that was our village. And I think NextGen Edge could be a part of everyone's village, because, I'll never care as much about your children as you will. Like, I'm crazy if I think that. But what I can say is that I consider it a privilege and an honor to be part of your village. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that, you're equipped as a parent, to raise an amazing child, an amazing young person, and also that your young people, I guess, have a sounding board outside of their parents, because we know, particularly as, you know, young people become teenagers, they seek validation outside of their parents. So that's kind of my role as well, is like to be an extra sounding board for them, and obviously, I feed that back to the parents, and that's all completely transparent. But it's just another opportunity. I've had young people tell me stuff, that they, it's not that they are afraid to tell their parents, it's just that wasn't their priority, and I'm not necessarily talking anything like profound, but like it might have just been that they were struggling at school or whatever, and they felt that they needed to share that with me, and then I was able to kind of feed that back to the parents and give them some strategies on how to help them manage. So that's really important for us as well, is that we're helping parents and young people.
That's fantastic. So just to recap there, Next Gen Edge, you got your school programs, you're helping with leadership, you're helping with kids that are maybe a little bit disillusioned, they might have made some mistakes. They might just need someone to step in and give them some confidence and help them through whatever they're going through, and make sure that they have a goal that they can achieve, and not only that, just I love the way you use the word that takes a village, and
Yep.
involving the parents there as well, because the parents can have absolutely no idea what's going on in their kid's life, and everything seems rosy, but the kid's
Yeah.
like a duck on the pond. The legs underneath are going like crazy. Everything seems
Yeah.
fine on the surface. So I think it's
Yeah.
fantastic what you do, Lyndon. And I hope that a lot of schools out there would at least put in an inquiry to see how you could run the program in the schools, and
Absolutely.
and any
Yeah.
parents out there that are just even some mentorship for their kids. By all means, hit him
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Sounds good, man. Hey, now we get on to the second part. You know what's coming.
Yes. Yep.
Bit of fun now, mate. Bit of fun. Hey,
Yep.
what's your favorite meal?
Uh, I'll be honest, I'm a bit boring, but just good old fashioned roast. Um, because for me, it like represents family. It represents, like most people have a roast on a Sunday. The family get together and you just chew the fat, talk about your week. So, it's more than just a meal for me.
That's fantastic. Any particular type, or as long as it's in the oven for a couple of hours?
Oh yeah, as long as it's a roast. Like of course, roast pork. Everyone loves a good roast pork, but I'm impartial to anything. Yeah.
Nice, beautiful bit of roast pork. We love that. We love that. Now, uh, if you had the opportunity to invite one person, living or deceased, to come round for a nice roast pork at your place, who are you inviting, Lyndon?
Um, yeah, when you sent this to me to have a think about, I think I gave you your two answers. So can I give you both
You
or
can, of course, you can.
okay, cool. So the first one, like if we're talking someone famous, for me, I'm a cricket tragic. It would have to be Sir Donald Bradman.
The Don.
Um,
Yeah, he goes all
I
right. The
remember
Don.
when I was 11 years old, I did an assignment on him. I just idolized him. I thought he was, even growing up as a cricketer, my dad would quote him all the time, and I just think, you know, what he was able to achieve in the era, like pre and post World War II, just incredible. Just
Now,
incredible.
I'm a bit older than you, but I found my project that I did on the Don probably in the same year level. So
Oh, really?
it was probably 15 or 20 years before you did it, but
I would say maybe. Yeah. Uh, Yeah, I wish I could find it. It was probably terrible. I was only 11, but just
yeah,
idolized the guy. I thought he was brilliant.
I found mine. It was
And
horrific, but
yeah, yeah. Well, 11 year
harshly
olds
marked
aren't
by the wife
particularly
who's a
good at
school
writing stuff.
teacher.
Oh, yeah. And then the other one is probably a bit personal. But unfortunately, my grandparents they passed. Um, all of them they're all gone now. I think the last one was when I was in my early 20s, maybe. And so I think like my mum's dad, one last round of golf with him before roast dinner would be amazing. Um, my dad's mum, and my dad's mum and dad, they lived like basically I would go through the back fence of my school and around the corner and I'd go there 3 days a week after school until mum finished. So I remember, playing Scrabble with Nana. I was terrible. She loved it. She just loved connecting. And then my dad's dad, Papa, he actually was lucky enough to see Don play
Right.
at Bowral Oval. So, give you an
Wow.
idea of how old these two people were, but they were the matriarch and patriarch of our family. And, look, Papa, when the dementia finally set in, he kind of got to a point where he would conflate two different events that actually happened in his life and create this one massive yarn that was just like it'd have you on the edge of your feet. You knew some of it wasn't like exactly how it played out because, but just to be able to sit on the couch and just talk cricket, talk Sudan, and maybe just listen to one of his yarns one last time before a good roast dinner, which was usually the thing when mum eventually came and picked me up from school. So that's they're the people that I'd want to have a roast dinner with, I think.
So that sounds amazing. So just to confirm, we're having a round of golf. We're playing some
Absolutely.
Scrabble,
Bloody oath.
and then Papa's coming around, and he introduces the Don as one of his stories. He said, "This is the fellow
Oh,
I went and
hey, how
saw
good
down
would
at
that be?
Barrel,"
Yeah.
and
How good
and,
would that be?
and then the roast pork's on and off. We're away.
Yeah.
That
That
sounds good.
that I could fair income, that could be my last day on earth, and I reckon I would be pretty content. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Hey, Lyndon, thanks so much for coming on, mate.
Thank you, David.
Contact
Appreciate
details
it.
for NextGen Edge are here. So schools, parents, have a check out the services there and get in touch with Lyndon if you wanted to take it further. He runs a terrific service and there's no doubt it is very valuable for you to guys to get him on board. He does a great job. Financial planning stuff, that's me. Um, And yeah, thanks again, mate. Great to see you.
Thanks, David. Appreciate it.
Boring.
but effective.